Dudley Dawson with us from Hogville on the Lewis Automotive Hotline here on a day where the NBA Finals begins. And, of course, you got women's softball back in Game 2. Dudley, the softball game yesterday, that's wild. You ever see anybody get a base hit on an intentional walk?
Not in a college game. I had in a high school game, but never in a college game. That was a pretty smart little move by the young lady.
Yeah, I seem to remember, maybe this might have been in the 2015 regional in Stillwater. I don't think it wasn't a base hit on an intentional walk, but I seem to remember an Oklahoma State pitcher throwing a wild pitch during an intentional walk that led directly to their demise in the 8th inning. So you can never take those things for granted.
I bet the coaches today is for just saying held up 4 fingers and send them down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We thought we'd never see something like that, but then you end up getting it in softball. Get a load of this. I see this graphic that the 11.7 College Baseball podcast put out on their X account, that the last time Tennessee won a series in Fayetteville, Michael Jordan had been playing for the Wizards. It's the year Bonds hit 73 home runs. Friends was still airing new episodes. Blockbuster still was a big deal. AIM Messenger is the way people chatted. And Tom Brady had just been named starting quarterback for the Patriots that year. It's also Will McIntyre was the only player alive in the last year from this Super Regional, the last time Tennessee beat Arkansas in Fayetteville. It's 2001. So why would we think it would happen this weekend, right?
Because of the last 2 years, I guess. I heard a lot of fans who are worried about that, that the pressure will get to Arkansas a little bit, especially if things don't go well early. But I just think this team has a different mentality and has more talent than it has these last couple of years, and certainly has more pitching.
Mm-hmm. But we expect we're not going to see Doyle on Saturday. We didn't see him in the first game of the series in Fayetteville. And it turned out that Doyle was kind of the thing that lit the fire under Arkansas. I mean, they scored 8 runs against him in, I think it was less than 4 innings. That's the hardest he's been hit all season. It'd be a real surprise if he gets knocked around like that again. But I do remember, Dudley, and you will too, in 2018, anytime Brady Singer pitched against Arkansas, they crushed him. Nobody else did that year in the SEC or across the country. Maybe we get the same thing.
Absolutely. With Absolutely. If it's Gage Wood against Liam Doyle in the second game there on Sunday, I'm calling it psychotic chaos. That's going to be fun as a writer to watch.
Is the intensity going to bubble over a little bit too much? I mean, because it already affected Tennessee by having their catcher suspended for the first game. I mean, that's directly related to being overly intense, overly argumentative, and it's already hurt them. Do you think that emotion could just bubble over too much for them in this series?
Yeah, we'll see. I think that they're going to be a little bit smarter about it, but certainly, if they tap their helmet or do some stuff that got Arkansas going the last series, then we'll see, what goes on there. But I think that I just find that Cannon Peebles not being there that first game, Stone Lawless sounds like the greatest fill-in ever on a Western movie. And I just, I'm interested to see how that works. I figure that he'll throw with Marcus since that's, what they've been basically doing all year. But it should be fun. And that's just as someone who was named after a cartoon character, Stone Lawless appeals to me.
Is there anywhere where you give Arkansas a decided edge? And it has nothing to do with playing at home.
Defense. I think, I've watched enough Tennessee games this year that, and certainly they've moved their infielders around due to injuries and just how they've been playing and all, and maybe they've got it going right now. They didn't have that many errors in the regional, but I think definitely for the most part, you look at analytics and you look at the guys on the field, Arkansas has better defense out there than Tennessee does.
Mm-hmm. You think that? So let's take that conversation on Golden Spikes. Does Wehiwa win Golden Spikes? His slash numbers aren't as good as Alex Lodi's. He's got better power numbers, more home runs. RBIs are about identical. The defensive statistics are pretty much identical. I think that there's other metrics that you want to use in terms of range and checking and seeing how many strikeouts each team had, because then there's less balls put into play. But I think it's between the two of them. But just to have another finalist is really amazing. It talks about just the amazing amount of high-end talent that's come through Arkansas in these last, well, it's been a long time, but if you go back to 2015 when Benny won, no team has had this many finalists for the Golden Spikes.
Right, and I've always been old school about this. I think the MVP should be somebody that plays every day. I mean, pitchers have their own award, and they really obviously, we saw with Hagan, we saw with Kevin Kopps, we saw with others over the years. I think that, certainly a pitcher can be a valuable player, but I'm of the old school that it should be one of these two shortstops. And you can, I know there seems to be a lot of Eastern time zone for the Florida State shortstop, but you look all over. I think that just number wise, V's had a better year, but I'm worried they might split the vote and Lotus slip in there.
I think this year's team, if you look at 15 with Benny and 21 with Kopps, there was the feeling that those guys kind of carried Arkansas to where they finished the season. That 21 team had a really strong lineup too, but Kopps that was a superhuman season. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. Benny, that 2015, you remember that 2015 team. I mean, it was a good team, but nobody really thought that was an Omaha team. They got a lot better. Right. It wasn't just Benny, but he was the guy. This is different. I wonder, what do you think Wehiwa's impact on this team is, aside from the fact that he's a good hitter and a really good shortstop?
I think he has a quiet leadership that kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but you're around the program. You know how important he is to those guys, how he leads, maybe not with words. I mean, it was hard when he first got here to get him to say a complete sentence to an interview. Now, he's doing a little bit better with that now. But what I think about him, it is unreal to play every inning of every baseball game. That's what he wanted to do, I guess, for the start of the year. And there's a lot to be said for that in there. You can pick out a lot of moments where maybe he didn't hit the game-winning homer, but because he hit one in the second inning, it relaxed his pitcher, and that's one of the reasons that Arkansas went on to win 20 games again. I just think that he's been the opposite of Liam Doyle, and that he's gone about his business very quietly and business-like and just taking care of things.
You kind of like when your shortstop's like that, right? Like I'm all fine with emotional playing and everything. I mean, you can't tell people necessarily like how to be intense. That's going to be something that just comes up from inside of them. But Wehiwa's just so chill, and he plays the position in a way that almost comes across that he's playing it in a very chill, laid-back way, which tells me the difficulty of that position. That just shows how good he is. When he makes these plays look easy. When he first got here, I don't think everybody thought he would be a shortstop in the major leagues, and maybe they shift him around a little bit. But, after watching him play these 2 years, and certainly this year defensively, has made some great plays in the outfield while playing shortstop. I really think the kid has come a long way at the plate and at the field. Does Arkansas have an edge in terms of starting pitching? With Tennessee, it is Doyle. They got a couple other guys that are good, but from what we saw from Root and Wood last week, I mean, you hope you carry that forward. It's just, I think Creighton had a nice lineup. It's not Tennessee's lineup.
Yeah, I agree, and I do think that if you base it on last weekend, yes, I would definitely give Arkansas the advantage. But if you base it on the season, I think Doyle and Marcus have probably been better over the course of the season in a lot because, obviously Gage got those 2 starts and then was coming back. But, man, if he comes out there and pitches like he did the other night, and I don't see why he wouldn't, it's going to be electric anyway. But if him and Liam Doyle are yelling at each other and all that, I'm looking forward to that. I get this all the time from my wife. And when we watch baseball with me, she says that in my youth and in high school and college, I was like Tony Vitello in terms of passion and believing in myself, and that's why she broke up with me. But now I'm like Dave Van Horn, measured, calculating, do the things I need to do, and that's why she married me.
Is that just the added miles, your odometer getting up to where it is now? Is that what chilled you out, or was it something else? Because that's what they always go with. That's what you could say with Dave. Dave even tells me that he says, I don't miss the things that I missed when my kids were growing up. And I wonder if that had a little bit to do with it. But also the age is going to be another reason why. You just kind of sometimes mellow out when life is good as you get older.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've even done it more since I got the grandson 16 months ago. And, I've embarrassed my son and daughter plenty over the years, but don't want to embarrass him.
Well, that's what your kids are for, to embarrass them publicly, just like
Absolutely.
your parents did to you. Tell me what you got on the NBA Finals starting tonight in Oklahoma City.
Well, it's hard not to, root maybe for Oklahoma City. I admire what Indiana has done as well. I think it's a great organization, and obviously Tyrese Halliburton has stepped forward, but so has Pascal Siakam and a lot of other guys. But, I've been covering Isaiah Joe and Jalen since they were in the 8th grade, when they were on AAU teams, and you knew they were going to be really good. You didn't know they were going to be playing in the NBA Finals as teammates, certainly. But I have an affinity for Oklahoma City. It is my wife's team because that's where she was born. And when she lived in Atlanta, she didn't want none of the Hawks. So she jumped on the Oklahoma City bandwagon. Now she has very smartly adjusted to being a Celtics fan as well because, they may say happy wife, happy life, but upset Dudley does nobody any good. And so we're looking forward to watching it. We always joke about we went to see Oklahoma City and Boston play several times during our marriage. Kevin Durant never played in any of those 5 games. He was always hurt, or he was load management, what they call load management. But we're looking forward to it.
Seth wanted to ask you a question on our Lewis Automotive Hotline. Anyone taking Arenado at the deadline?
Probably, and I don't want it to happen now. I mean, I'm not saying we're going to get a wild card berth and all that, but I've really enjoyed this season, and I would really like for him to stay around. But they never ask me. So,
well, that's why Seth asked you, because he wanted your opinion more than the Cardinals front office. Dudley,
he's my favorite player. He's my favorite player. At third base has always been my favorite position. I want him to play for the Cardinals till he retires. But I realize that deals can be made. If we do trade him, we better get a boatload.
Favorite third baseman of all time?
Brooks Robinson.
Well, you're obviously from Arkansas. That would be a really good choice.
And named my son Brooks. So,
well, even if you're not from Arkansas, that's a great choice too.
Absolutely.
Dudley, thanks for your time. Always appreciate it.
You bet. See you this weekend.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, and even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. With updated odds on the MLB, UFC, and boxing to tennis and NFL futures, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline Casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.